Hey VC, Jack here. Welcome to Vinyl Martini, another edition of Vinyl Martini. I'm going to show some newer records. Of course, they're not new records. They're pre-loved albums that I've bought in the last couple of months, maybe a little bit longer. I think these are still records that I bought in 2022, but I got a good stack of them, so let's get started. First up, this is something that I do nothing about. It's an EP by two bands. Each band does one side. One side is the Lanterns, and their side is called Monkey's Lament. And the other side is a Russian band called Gutskra Artikler, and their side is called Beretska. Sorry if I've mangled those titles, but didn't know anything about it. Bought it largely on the basis of it being a colored vinyl album. Very nice. How can I describe this? Well, the Lanterns, as I found out, are a UK folk drone band. Didn't even know such a thing existed. Folk drone, never heard of it. And the Russian band on the other side is a ambient electronics outfit. So interesting music, both sides. Don't think I'll be looking for stuff by these guys in the future, but it was $5. It's in great shape. It's an import, so interesting find. I'm not going to try and pronounce those names again. Next up, another EP by a band that I hadn't heard of before. The band's called The Word, and the name of the EP is called The Next Best Thing. I was kind of expecting probably some post-punk. This is a 1985 EP, some post-punk, but it's more power pop, I guess, and I can't find out anything about this band. I think these are the only four songs they recorded, and then they never recorded anything else, and I can't find any information about them, about who they are and what they went on to do. They're from Bradford in England, I think, so anybody knows anything about this, why don't you just drop me a line in the comments below. The Word. Next up is a John Martyn album. Try to find the date on this. This is a 1982 release from John Martyn. Always an interesting musician, jazzy, kind of bluesy, folky. He's all over the map with many, many different genres, but he always does interesting records. And this one it is an interesting record. It's well worth a listen. I don't really know very many of the musicians on here. I think Mel Collins on sax, I recognize him. Ronnie Scott's on sax as well. Those are the only two musicians I recognize, but it's called Well Kept Secret, 1982 from John Martyn. And adding to my Kris Kristofferson collection, I've got most of Chris's records. I'm just gonna start to get his Chris and Rita records, his collaborations with Rita Coolidge. This one's Breakaway. This is from 1974. All these records were pretty cheap. They were like $4 or $5. Some of them a little bit cheaper. Really cool record, really quiet. Chris steps up to the microphone quite a bit on here and does his thing. A lot of people don't like Chris's singing, but I do. Anyways, Kris Kristofferson, called Breakaway. Next up, first Suzi Quatro record I've ever bought. This is from 1979, and it is Suzi, Another Four-Letter Words. Suzi kind of made a big stir, I think, in the States, or on this side of the water. I guess early 70s, mid 70s. So she was one of those pioneer female rockers. She has since retreated to the UK. I think she's lived in the UK for a long, long time. She's bigger in UK and in Europe than she is in North America, that's for sure. She was on Happy Days. I never watched that show, Happy Days. I know what it is, but I don't think I've ever seen I've never seen more than 5 minutes of Happy Days, let's put it that way. And there's a couple of good songs in here. I've Never Been in Love is good. Mind Demons is good. Space Cadets is good. There's a lot of sort of middle of the road songs that I can see would appeal to a European market. So anyways, Suzi Quatro, that one cost me $2. It's in nice shape. Yeah, it's on RSO Records. This was the find of that record store, and I think that record store is called Three Dog Records in Richmond, BC. This is an artist that I'm always on the lookout for. This is Tim Hardin. It's a comp record. It's a compilation of tracks from his first 3 Columbia records. I have only one of them. Tim Hardin records are really, really hard to find in good shape. I found one a couple of weeks prior to finding this one, but it was just so beat up that I didn't want to bring it home. And maybe that might have been a mistake in retrospect. But some great songs on here. All the songs that he wrote, Magician, Love Him, First Love Song, Everything Good Becomes More True, Country I'm Living In, they're great songs. And he does fantastic versions of Bird on a Wire, Hoboin, and Jesse Winchester's Yankee Lady. Tim Hardin's kind of a legendary songwriter. Of course, he died tragically of a drug overdose. He had substance abuse problems his whole career, which really held him back. But anytime you see a Tim Hardin record in the bins, grab it. It's well worth it. Singer-songwriter. And this one was $1. Same place, Freddie Fender, and it is rockin' country. I love Freddie Fender, Tex-Mex. You know, he's used to work with Doug Sahm. One of my heroes, Doug Sahm, does a great version of Vaya con Dios in here. You'll Lose a Good Thing. Take Her Message, I'm Lonely. Freddie Fender is so great. Wasted Days and Wasted Nights. If you don't like that song, I don't know. Maybe there's no hope for you, but this is a great record. It was $1, great shape, Freddie Fender. Next up, before I show these records, I don't know if you watched Mazzy's show from a couple of days ago. He was doing a rant with Dr. Robert about the things he hates, the things that record stores do that he hates. And one of them is the whole stickers issue about, you know, record stores putting stickers right on the covers. And it's a pretty funny show. He's on with his buddy Dr. Robert, and they do a funny show on things that he doesn't like what record stores do. But I'm bringing that up because this is a record store that I've talked about before. It's Apollo Music in Port Coquitlam on the mainland. It's an example of a great record store. It's always got nice outer sleeves. The prices are on the outer sleeve. They put a little sticker on here. For example, this is a Steve Goodman record, and it's a 2 LP folk rock record, in case you don't know who Steve Goodman is or what he does. But yeah, great record store. The records are always nice and clean, curated beautifully. They always have a very, very thick inner. They replace all the inners. They leave the originals in there if they can, and then put the new inners on. But great example of a record store. So Apollo Music in Port Coquitlam, BC. If you're in the neighborhood, go check them out. But in the meantime, here is a Steve Goodman record. I do not have any Steve Goodman records, and I've been looking for them for a while. They're usually pretty beat up. Steve Goodman, if you don't know it, I think he is from Chicago. Singer-songwriter. His big hit that you would recognize is The City of New Orleans. Chris Christopherson produced most of these songs, and I think that he helped bring John Prine to Chris's attention. They went to check John Prine out when he was just a journeyman singer-songwriter in a club. Chris was knocked out and helped John get a record deal. All these songs are great. What a storyteller this Steve Goodman was. Very, very complicated lyrics, great stories, long stories, great musicianship on this record. Very, very happy to have it. I might not have to buy another Steve Goodman album, seeing that this one is in such great condition and there's so many great songs on here. And it is on Buddha Records. Next up, kind of took a flyer on this one. Sometime in New York City, John Lennon. It was a really good price. It was $12.99 It's in great shape. It's got the inners. It's got the original inner liners. And I thought, you know, I haven't heard this in so long, and everybody pans it. I thought, you know, maybe it's time for a re-listen. And let's try to reevaluate this record. Well, I did reevaluate it, and, you know, I'm kind of regretting buying it, to tell you the truth. It does have a great cover. I love the cover. The songs are muddy. I don't know. I guess Angela was okay. New York City's okay. Attica State's okay. There's a couple of jams on here. Pretty indulgent. I don't know. It's a double LP. It's a bit of a mess, and John was totally into this whole political peace thing and radicalization. Good proof that musicians maybe should stay out of politics and just do what they know best. So, sometime in New York City, John Lennon. This is a great find. The record is called Frogs, Sprouts, Clogs, and Krauts. And it's the second LP from The Rumor, Graham Parker's band. I've had their first LP for a long, long time. That first LP is just called The Rumor, such a great LP. And this one is no worse, maybe a little better. Of course, they came out of the pub rock scene, sort of maybe new wave-ish, but very, very great musicianship on here. Brinsley Schwartz is in the band. He has been a musician in England for many, many years. Before that, he had his own band before he hooked up with Graham Parker. But songs on here like Emotional Traffic, Tired of Waiting, One Good Night, I Can't Help Myself. They're all great songs. Fantastic record, and what did it cost me? $7.99 in mint shape. The Rumor. If you see this record, pick it up. It's very, very cool. Next, I've been beefing up my Bob Dylan collection. This is Shot of Love, the third in his Christian trilogy from 1981. The third in that trilogy with the first one was called Long Train Running, I think. The second one was... oh, I will think of it in a second. Anyways, Bob turned off a lot of his fans when he started doing these religious records. I think unfairly. You know, I think he was going through a period in his life when he was really, really searching for something. Of course, he kind of, I wouldn't say went overboard, but he went to the sort of the right side of Christianity with a more evangelical rather than maybe on the kind of leftish side with the United Church. But some good songs on this record. Great band. Jim Keltner's on here. Fred Tackett on guitar. Jim Keltner on drums. Smitty Smith's on organ. Ringo Starrs is on drums. And Duck Dunn is on here. Really happy to have this record. Great shape. Shot of Love, Bob Dylan. Another Bob Dylan record, Bob Dylan Live, 1984. It's called Real Live. It's in great shape. Got a really good band on here. It's produced by Glyn Johns. Mick Taylor, Carlos Santana, Bill Graham. Bill Graham doesn't play, but he's thanking Bill Graham. The band is Greg Sutton, Colin Allen, Ian McLaughlin, and Mick Taylor. So great lineup, great band. And it's worth picking up these live albums because he always does songs that you haven't heard before. License to Kill is on here. I and I. He does Tangled Up in Blue. So he does a lot of songs that everybody expects him to do. He does Highway 61, Maggie's Farm. But I bought it for the songs that I haven't heard live versions for before. Here it is for a real live Bob Dylan. Nice shape. And it's a promo copy. Sounds great. Last Bob Dylan record is Oh Mercy, 1989's Oh Mercy. I used to have this as cassette, used to play it in the car all the time. When it first came out, I haven't listened to this in a long, long time. This album just knocked me out when I played it the other night. It is fantastic. Produced by Daniel Lanois. This is really Bob Dylan coming back after his 80s albums. I know that Steve, All the World's a Stage, is a big 80s Dylan fan. Most people aren't, but I'm a Dylan fan no matter what he does, no matter what era. But this song is, this album is just fantastic. Political World, Ring Them Bells, Everything is Broken. Most of the time, really haunting. This is a great, great record to play late at night. Glass of whiskey, everybody's gone to bed, you got the fire going. Yeah. Oh Mercy, Bob Dylan. And the last record I'm going to show, ZZ Top. Del-Guelo. Fantastic record. This is their last record before they did, I think, before they entered their MTV phase, when they got very, very popular and started writing mega hits, became almost cartoon characters of themselves. This record is great. It's got I Thank You on it, She Leaves My Automobile, I'm Bad on Nationwide, Manic Mechanic. They do a great version of Dust My Broom, getting back to their blues roots. Cheap Sunglasses, fantastic record. There you can hear elements of some synths in here, and you can tell where they're going to go, or you're getting a premonition of where they're going to go later on in the 80s. But very, very solid record. ZZ Top, Del-Guelo, and yeah, that was like $8, mid condition. So there you have it. There's we're almost caught up to showing you my newer purchases. I still got a stack that I'm gonna wait for maybe next week. I don't know if I mentioned it, but I finally finished cataloging all my records in Discogs. Boy, that was a chore and a half, but it needed to be done, and I'm glad I did it, because you get to handle all your records. There's so many records in my collection that I haven't touched in 25 years. So it's great to pull them out of the sleeves, see who's on them, etc., etc. I wish they would do the stuff on the run out, the matrix and the run out, a little bit clearer. My eyes aren't very good, so that was kind of tough. What else did I do? Oh yes, I shifted all my records over. My records were getting too tight. And the cabinet behind me, the cubes behind me, used to be my holding area. So now they're my actual collection. And there's lots of room now, lots of space for me to file newer records. Of course, I think I've run out of cubes. I used to have like 6 or 7 empty cubes. So I'm going to have to buy some more cubes. I'll talk to my wife about that later. I'm sure she'll be thrilled. But anyways, there we go. Thanks for watching. If you like this video and you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do. Give me a like. Give me a dislike. I'm still waiting for my first dislike. I can take it. If you got any comments, you liked any of the records, you didn't like some of the records, and I'd love to hear from you. And till next time, cheers. See you later.